And just like that, another character from our childhood has been turned into a killer. And no, this time we're not talking about Winnie the Pooh or Peter Pan, but we're talking about Bambi. Because yes, Bambi got his own horror movie called Bambi the Reckoning.
Hello, Amanda. I want to play a game.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today's video is my spoiler-free review of Bambi the Reckoning. This is the fourth film in the Twisted Childhood universe, that is also known as the Pooniverse. Bambi the Reckoning is currently available in theaters, but I actually got the chance to watch this one on an early screener thanks to Pixel Scene Media. And because of that, I am going to be doing this review spoiler-free, while I usually do my reviews with full spoilers. So this one is going to be just a general review. I will not be going into details because I want to avoid spoiling the movie for you guys. So without anything else to say, let's get into the video. Now, Bambi the Reckoning follows after a mother and son get in a car wreck. They soon become haunted by Bambi, a mutated grief-stricken deer on a deadly rampage seeking revenge for the death of his mother. And trying to summarize the film without giving spoilers, the film follows a mother and a son that get into a car crash in the middle of the forest and is provoked by Bambi. Bambi saw his mother get killed when he was little by hunters, and as a result, he now has this desire for revenge. We get his backstory at the beginning of the movie, giving us enough context to understand the character's past and also what is provoking his desire for revenge. And after the car crash is that the action starts, and for the rest of the movie, we have Bambi trying to kill them and also other people. But throughout the film, we get to understand a little bit more about Bambi and also about the characters. And that is essentially the best way for me to summarize this movie without giving many spoilers. So that's why the summary is so short. But now getting into this review. I watched this film with low expectations. I have watched Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 2. So far, this universe has 4 movies: Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 1 and 2, and the one that is based on Peter Pan that came out at the beginning of this year is Peter Pan A Neverland Nightmare. I haven't watched that one yet, but I am thinking about doing it. But when it comes to Bambi, my expectations were low because at the end of the day, these ones are independent horror films. They are with low budget, so there's not much to be expected. But to be an independent horror film with a low budget, and I do it this because I don't know the exact number, it was surprisingly good. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised to see that this film was actually decent. Because if you have watched the first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, you know that that film is awful. In my opinion, it was one of the worst horror movies of that year. But because the movie was successful at the box office, they got enough money for them to improve the budget for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 2. And you can see that the improvement is noticeable in so many aspects, to the point that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 2 is actually enjoyable. Actually, it is. And then we have the one from Peter Pan that, since I haven't watched it, I cannot say if you can see the improvement there. But with Bambi, you can tell that they have improved. In my opinion, one of the biggest improvements is the acting. I was expecting nothing from it. Again, if you have watched the first one from Winnie the Pooh, that film, there's nothing that can be safe. The acting, you have watched it, you know. But here, I was surprised that the acting was decent enough for this movie to be enjoyable. At least for me, if I am watching a movie that the actors aren't doing a good job, it becomes a hard watch. But here, I was surprised to see that that wasn't the case. The expectations were underground, so that definitely helped. When it came to the writing, there's also an improvement. I felt that the story was entertaining and you kind of feel a little bit sorry for Bambi at some point. Towards the end, they make you care about him. And while the plot may be predictable, the way that it's written is entertaining. I didn't feel bored watching this film. The cinematography, they have definitely improved that. The sounds, all of that. Definitely there is improvement, but there's also room for doing it better. But I am hoping that with the upcoming films, they are going to get better and better, because that is what I am expecting of this, since there are more films coming up. But a problem that I had with this film is that they rely way too much on CGI instead of practical effects. What I feel that makes this film not be as good as it could have been is the CGI. There are specific moments, especially with the deaths, and when we have Bambi, they could have used practical effects. And I feel that Bambi specifically could have benefited from that because he could have been more intimidating as a killer than just the CGI. The deaths, they are fun, gory, and a lot of blood, but again, they rely a little bit too much on the CGI when I feel that they could have done more practical effects. An example that I want to use is Terrifier. If you have watched those films, you know that they are extremely gory. The first one had extremely low budget, and they still make a hell of a good job with those practical effects. And the gore is quite good. So I thought most likely this film has a higher budget. So why they didn't use it? Of course, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the specific number. By the time that I am filming this, the number is not out there. So unfortunately, I don't have a way to fully compare it. But I do feel that if Terrifier was able to do it, I feel that this production could have found a way to work a little bit with that. At the end of the day, Bambi the Reckoning is a B-horror movie that I feel that is worth watching and it's way better than expected. So if by now you haven't watched any of the films of this universe and maybe you want to, definitely give it a try. Maybe start with this one if you want. So far, there is not a specific order to watch these films, only Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the first one and then the second one. But when it comes to Peter Pan, and then we have now Bambi, there's not a specific order so far. Since they have plans to do one, like it's called Puniverse, and it's supposed to bring all the characters from the previous movies into one. There's one that is supposed to be coming about Pinocchio, and there are a lot of other characters that they want to adapt into these horror retellings. So only time will tell if all of the movies that they have planned will come out. I am only hoping that they are going to improve because I feel that the potential is there. They only need a little push and definitely a higher budget. So while this film was a fun watch, I could say it was entertaining and I feel that can be worth giving it a try. I'm not going to give it such a high rating because I need to be honest. At the end of the day, this film is not a 4 or a 5 out of 5. For me, at the end is a 2.5 out of 5 and a 5 out of 10. I feel that it's right in the middle. Room for improvement. It has improved from the previous ones, but there's still some things that they could have done a little bit better. But on a general opinion, I don't hate this movie. I feel that if you want to give them a try, you should definitely do it. If your only point of reference is the first Winnie the Pooh, the Blood and Honey, then you should know that the improvement is noticeable and maybe you're going to enjoy this one way more. But with that, I have ended this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below your thoughts if you watched this one. What are your thoughts in this universe? Are you digging it? You don't like this? You don't like these retellings at all? You like these horror retellings? You don't? You want to give them a try? Let me know down below your thoughts. And I am going to see you guys on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!